Hi guys, this is Omer from MMOHut.com, and I'm doing another quick weekly recap of MMO news and announcements for the week ending January 16th. And as you can see from the video playing in the background, the first piece of news that we're going to take a look at has to do with Champions Online. And the news is that Champions Online will be going free to play on January 25th, 2011. Now, Cryptic, the company behind Champions Online, originally announced months ago that they plan to make Champions Online free-to-play, but an official release date for the free-to-play version of the game has remained unknown until January 11th, 2011. So the final date right now is set as January 25th. Now, the game will actually be completely free-to-play, with all of the game's content available to free-to-play users, except some of the special adventure packs. The game will, of course, have a cash shop to monetize itself. Now, hopefully, if the game does well, Star Trek Online and other Cryptic games will also be free-to-play. Up next, guys, on January 12th, Suba Games announced that Mission Against Terror announces a new Occupation Mode. Basically, a brand new game mode will be added to Mission Against Terror sometime in the near future called Occupation Mode. And in Occupation Mode, two teams basically struggle to take control of certain points on the map. Pretty much like a Battlefield style game where you take control of all the points in order to win. Now, it's not really a huge update, but along with Occupation Mode, players can expect new maps. And in case you couldn't tell by the video, Mission Against Terror is an MMO FPS game. Now, the game did launch into open beta several months ago, and since then, it has enjoyed numerous updates. I kind of hope Suba Games eventually gets around to releasing Crimson Tale 2 in North America, if that ever happens. On January 12th, guys, the much-anticipated fantasy MMORPG Forsaken World from Perfect World Entertainment entered Phase 3 of closed beta testing. I know what some of you guys are thinking, why is this game going through so many phases of closed beta? And actually, I'm thinking a lot of the same thing. Now, Phase 3 for the game will be much more open to more players, meaning a lot of you guys that couldn't get into Phase 2 or Phase 1 can probably try playing the game now. And if you still can't get into Phase 3 beta, I believe the next step of beta will be Phase 4 and then open beta. In Phase 3 of beta testing, the maximum level has been increased from level 40 to level 50, but keep in mind, before Phase 4, all characters will be wiped. Players can also expect new weapons, new gear, new quests, and a whole bunch of other things in Phase 3. I'm just waiting for the game to finally actually launch. I hate the fact that they're dragging out this beta testing phase, especially since the game is already out in China. At least when the game launches, it'll launch with a lot of content, hopefully a very polished gameplay experience, but we'll see. Alright guys, the next bit of news is that on January 19th, the Bloodlord will be coming to Vindictus. And what this basically is the next major update to the game, and it will go live again on January 19th, which will introduce a brand new raid boss to the game called the Bloodlord, as you guessed it. Now, players have to be at least level 45 to battle him, and he's supposed to be really tough. Up next, guys, also on January 12th, Perfect World Entertainment announced that they signed the licensing agreement to launch a game called Rusty Hearts in North America. Now, Rusty Hearts, as you can see from the video in the background, is a 3D action MMORPG developed by a company called Windysoft in Korea. Gameplay-wise, it's supposed to play a bit like Divine Soul / Vindictus, so it'll be Perfect World Entertainment's really first action-y MMORPG. The company expects to show it off during E3 2011, which will be sometime in early June. Now, hopefully the game will launch into open beta shortly after that. Up next, guys, a small update for Alliance of Valiant Arms, a 3D MMO-FPS being published by EG. The latest update to the game adds a brand new Annihilation map called Township, which is actually a small map, so it's actually very fast-paced and very hectic. Aside from the new map, players can expect a handful of new weapons added to the game. You have 4 new weapons, one of them being a melee weapon, and the other 2 being 2 submachine guns and a sniper rifle. Next up, guys, on January 12th, another major update for one of EG's MMO FPS games. Genesis AD receives a renewal update, which is what it is called. And the renewal update for the game basically just shakes up a lot of aspects of the game. Pretty much all 3 classes of the game have been rebalanced, changing their base stats around and limiting some of the dodging features they could do. Snipers and assaults, for example, can no longer dodge jump. Now, a lot of these changes are temporary while they test them out and see what players think, but EG has also added 2 new deathmatch maps to the game called Encounter and Battle Chess. Next up, guys, on January 19th, newest update for MapleStory will go live, and that's the 3rd part of the Big Bang update, and it'll be adding the new mechanic class to the game. And the new mechanic class is basically the 3rd new class being added since the Big Bang update. The other 2 include Battle Mage and Wild Hunter. Now, you can see from the video playing in the background, which is actually recorded on the Korean version of the game, some of the skills that the mechanic has access to. Basically, he's on this giant robot. He has these crazy AoE attacks. Along with the release date for the new mechanic class, Nexon came out and released some cool statistics about MapleStory. They came out and said that about 136,000 people were online at once during the Big Bang update, which was more than double their previous record. And these numbers are for North America only. Worldwide, I'm sure there are way more than 136,000 people online at once. Well, guys, that's it for MMO news. But as for upcoming games, we have Loong Power of the Dragon officially launching on January 19th. Now, I know I said in a previous video that the game will already launch in open beta a while ago, but apparently that launch was a fake open beta. I hate when games do this. They say they launch in open beta, but then they wipe and then they launch a real release. Normally, open beta is supposed to mean no more wipes, but sometimes companies just wipe anyway and they actually launch afterwards. January 19th will be the full release for the game and no more wipes afterwards. Well guys, that's it for games coming soon, but as for games recently launched, Project Blackout from SG Interactive finally launched out of open beta into full release. And now there really aren't many gameplay changes to the game since open beta. Now between the open beta and the full release, there really aren't that many gameplay changes. You can expect a few bugs to be fixed and things along those lines. Another game that actually just recently launched is Bloodline Champions from Funcom, the same guys behind Anarchy Online and Age of Conan. Now, Bloodline Champions was originally a buy-to-play game, but eventually got relaunched as a free-to-play game, and I think that's pretty awesome. You can still buy the game for certain perks like access to new skins and things like that, but you can still play the game entirely for free. And like League of Legends, you can use in-game money to buy new bloodlines and new avatars in the game. Well guys, that's it for MMO news and announcements for the week ending January 16th. If you want to read about or learn more about any of the announcements I mentioned in this video, head on over to MMOHut.com/news. Anyway guys, this is Omer, signing off. Later guys.